Okay, on that, I had maybe a question to Falgun because viewers who are going to this particular video might be wondering by now because we have used the term item quite a bit. So can you talk a bit about this particular term item? What is this? And if at all we are talking it as an abstraction level, where does it come? Can you talk a bit about this particular term item? What is this?
That's a very interesting question. So when we talk about the complete automotive industry, so the final product that we are aiming for is the vehicle, right? So we call the topmost level as, now I say topmost because I tend to always see the whole architecture in the top to bottom. So top down approach. So this is where I say this as top. So I keep my vehicle at the top. So anything below that, I will, in a hierarchical way, I will cut things down and then make into different smaller units. So you break vehicle. Vehicle is a product which consists of a lot of things, lot of functionalities, features, everything. So I break that down into multiple items. Now, what are these items? So these can probably domain specific items. Like for example, it can be a domain controller ECU. It can be a gateway ECU. It can be a transmission controller ECU. It can be anything, right? It can be one set of functionality. So this I would call as item. Now, why would I refer this as item? I'll come to this in a bit. So from item, I'm going to divide them into elements. So this is again as per the standard 2144 or 26262. Items can further be divided into many elements. Now these elements can be considered as system elements. Now system elements can further be subdivided as software elements, hardware elements, if applicable mechanical elements, etc. Then those software elements, so let us go in detail about the software part. So the software elements can be further subdivided into architectural components, then goes into the software units. So that software unit can further be divided into your function, which is your the smallest unit in your whole chain. So the same way when you are talking about hardware, so hardware elements can be further divided into hardware component into hardware units, hardware unit into probably the ICs or the resistors or the capacitors, etc., which are the smallest part of units in the complete chain. So this is how the whole chain would look like. Uh, did I answer your question?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So which means if I understand it right, if at all I'm somebody who is working in the system level, for example, then I always have to keep in mind that item is a one level above the system, where maybe my system alone or my system together with other systems which are coming from maybe other system suppliers together form an item, and multiple items then together form my complete vehicle at the vehicle level. So that is how I need to understand, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So that's
One
it.
more
Mhm.
point adding to this item itself. So what I understood for the cybersecurity perspective is item definition itself is vary from where you look. So OEM perspective, the item definition is different than the tier 1 or tier 2 supplier.
Yes. So having said that, when we say
Mhm,
the definitions are different, I think we are not talking in a way that I will also have an item definition in the system level or the software level,
mhm,
right? Item
yeah.
definition is
Mhm,
only one, which is at the item level,
mhm,
and which is more or less the responsibility of the you know stakeholder who is responsible for the item level. In most of the cases, it's the OEM. They are
mhm,
responsible for the vehicle level as well as the item level, and that is normally item definition is normally given as an input to the system level, right? So it comes only once
mhm,
in the complete hierarchy. But as you mentioned, if at all I am a software supplier,
mhm,
then I need to know that item definition is not in the system level, it's even above. If I'm a
mhm,
system supplier, then it's directly above item level, right? So in that way, it could be, bit far or
mhm,
closer to my abstraction level.
So maybe just to add on to that point, Dharmesh, the way you mentioned what item definition means for OEM can be different for tier 1 or tier 2. I would rephrase the statement and change it as what each group takes from item definition will be different. Item definition is one, OEM takes something else from that. Tier 1 will take something else from that because they have to concentrate about the interfaces of the system that comes into picture. Tier 2, who are just the software or hardware developers, they do still refer to item definition, but the information that they take will be very less or minimal.
Or indirect to say, right? Because they may not derive anything directly from the item because that's too high. All the relevant information from the items are already taken care in the system. And then the lower level at the software or hardware system is my input. So this is where I don't need to, think too much about what is there in the item in most of the cases.